So Sadhguru, I have one last question from our side. Sometime back, I happened to be in a situation where a friend of mine was drunk. So when she was in the drunk state, she was repeatedly saying that please don't judge me as I'm drinking. Please don't judge me.
It is… but she has lost her judgment, but she doesn't want you.
So my question is, whether it is alcohol or not, in life, why are we so apprehensive about being judged by others? And how can we not let this come on our way of being happy?
Look at me. See, I'm always stoned. Never touched a substance, but always stoned. You can judge me whichever way you want. Because one thing is, I'm stoned in such a way that I have not lost my judgment at all. And at the same time, whichever way you judge me has absolutely no impact on me because I'm completely stoned. Having said that, why this consumption of alcohol and drugs is growing the way it's growing in the world is, well, nobody can really put a number on this, but just to say to what extent. In the last 25 years in India, probably alcohol consumption has gone up 10,000%. What do you think? I'm telling you, when we were growing up, in the town, there would be just 10-15 people who drink. In a small town, I'm saying. People say, in that family they drink, we won't give our girls to that family, you know. But today, if you don't serve drink at your wedding, nobody will come. So why this need for alcohol and drug has gone up so much? This is because the heavens have been collapsing. Yes. I was in Bangalore just 3-4 weeks ago. There were over 8,000 people doing a 2-day program with me. Just casually I asked, how many of you think you will go to heaven? Only 5 hands went up. Then I asked, are you all the hell people? No, it's just that both heaven and hell have collapsed in people's minds. This happened. Okay, I'll tell a joke too. One day, a nice Catholic girl, Mary, came home and she was distressed. Her mother asked, Mary, my baby, what happened? Why are you like this? She said, Anthony proposed to me. So mother said, isn't that wonderful? You've been with him for so long, is it good he proposed to you? Why are you unhappy about that? Mama, he sins with me without any regret. And he doesn't even believe in hell. How do I marry him? The mother said, don't you worry, my child. Both of us together will prove him wrong. So heavens have collapsed. When I say heavens have collapsed, it's like this. Maybe you heard this somewhere. There was a Sunday school going on in Alabama. Alabama is a very special state in the United States. So the local priest was going full fire. But unfortunately, the audience were not like you, they were all tiny tots. Catch them young policy. Full force he was going. He was enjoying his own rhetoric so much. He stopped midway and asked, "What do you have to do to go to heaven?" Of course, little Mary in the front row stood up and said, "If I scrub the church floor every Sunday morning, I will go to heaven." Absolutely. Another little girl stood up and said, "If I share my pocket money with my less privileged friend, I will go to heaven." Correct. Another boy stood up there and said, "If I help people who are in need, I will go to heaven." Correct. Little Tommy in the back bench stood up and said, "You gotta die first." That's a qualification. If you want to go to heaven, you got to die first. So when you die, whether you like it or you don't like it, unless you're Elon Musk, we usually bury your body here or burn it or cut it and throw it to the birds. Something we will do depending on what tradition you belong to. But we will put this body back to earth because after all, we picked it up from this planet. At least that much responsibility you must have. You should not take this body and go away. So, fortunately, nobody can take it and go. If you've not done anything eco-friendly in your life, this is one thing you will do. You will put this body back onto this earth. It's a very good thing. So you went to heaven and what is in heaven? This you must know. In the Hindu heaven, food is very good. Yes, Nala himself cooks for you. If you are a foodie, you must go to Hindu heaven. In another place, there are those white-gowned ladies floating in the clouds. They usually don't have legs, they're just floating. Because to float, you don't need legs, common sense. If you like that kind of ambience, that's where you go. If you go to another place, you will encounter virgin problems. If that's what you want, that's where you go. But the only problem is, you don't have a body. When you don't have a body, what do you do with good food and virgins, I want to know. So, see, this is the first time in the history of humanity that this many people in the world can think for themselves. Otherwise, your priest, your mullah, your pandit or a book was thinking for you. The first time that so many people can think for themselves. Or they're thinking right, thinking wrong, there are many issues about that. But they're thinking right, thinking wrong, but they're thinking. First of all, women. Till about 50 or 100 years ago, a woman was not even supposed to think. She's not supposed to think. This straight away 50% of the population has burst into the thinking process. It's a huge number. For the first time, this is only second, third generation which is beginning to think for themselves. Otherwise, they were not even supposed to think. So when so many people are thinking, see, when you talk to somebody, you think somebody else is illogical, but in their mind, there is some kind of crazy logic functioning, isn't it? When you get into argument with people, you see this. You think you're logically correct, but the other person also thinks he's logically correct. He has his own crazy sense of logic, but they have their own framework of logic. So all illogical things are naturally collapsing. Still, this generation has not fully walked away from it, still there is fear. They can't openly say, there's no goddamn hell or heaven. They're still fearful about it, but they're trying to make a little heaven for themselves here. So, hey, wait. So naturally, when they're not able to do it for themselves out of their own intelligence, they will fall back on chemicals. Today, just to take very affluent societies, because every society is aspiring to be like that. Let's say you take United States, which is the most affluent nation on the planet right now. I don't know if half the IIT after graduation will be in United States, because wherever I go in US, whoever I meet, they say, I am IIT this, I am IIT that. So, 70% of US population is on prescription medication. Another 30%, of course, buying it off the back streets. 70% on prescription medication means, though… See, what is affluence? Let's understand this. Why an individual person or a society or a nation seeks affluence is, at first level, it'll give us a choice of food. If I'm affluent, I can eat what I want. Eating means nourishment. I can nourish myself well. When a man is poor, the biggest problem is, I'm not well nourished. So at first level, it is a choice of nourishment. At a second level, it's a choice of lifestyles. So you are the most affluent nation, you have an enormous choice of nourishment and an enormous choice of lifestyles. But 70% is on medical prescription medication. $3 trillion of healthcare bill, it can sink a nation, all right? It's bigger than our budget. Our GDP is only 2.7 trillion. $3 trillion worth of healthcare in America for quarter the number of people that we are. Most affluent nation, obviously affluence is not working. To be healthful, you need chemicals. To be joyful, you need chemicals. To be peaceful, you need chemicals. To be ecstatic, of course, that is ecstasy. So, I'm not even looking at it morally. It's never a moral issue for me. All I'm saying is, if we become chemically dependent, because there's also another scale. The food that we eat is full of chemicals, the water that we drink is full of poison. Some genius came up with this idea that you can poison the water, kill all the bacteria and it won't poison me. I don't know where this idea came from. Some genius idea this is. Because on this planet, all life, whether a single-celled animal or the most complex creature, which is we are made the same way, essentially the fundamental design is same. What kills a bacteria also kills us, maybe it takes a bigger dose, that's all. Water is poisoned, air is poisoned. Air, I believe, will get purified in the next 10 to 15 years' time because a whole lot of movement is happening in that direction. Air we can handle very easily. The biggest problem is soil and water. So that is another level of chemicals. If 90% of this population right now is on chemicals, believe me, the next generation that we produce will be a generation which is much less than us. If we produce a next generation less than ourselves, we have committed a crime against humanity, because the next generation must be at least one step ahead of us, otherwise we've lost it. We've lost the entire process of civilization when we produce a next generation which is actually less than us. So, we are heading towards this rapidly unless we teach individual human beings how to simply sit here and be blissed out. Stoned enough or no? Just look at me. But am I conscious enough, alert enough, clear enough? If there was a way to intoxicate yourself without losing your judgment, without losing your awareness, without losing your intelligence, it's a great thing. Intoxication is a fantastic thing. Only problem is, it takes away your judgment, it takes away your intelligence, incapacitates you. That is the problem, isn't it? Because life is about enhancement, life is not about crippling yourself. Now in the name of intoxication, you're crippling yourself, all right? This happened. Shankaran Pillai was walking in London. No, London? He just came out of an Irish bar and he put one leg in the gutter and kept on dragging and walking. Late in the night, the London bobby, the policeman, came, looked at this and said, "Hey, you look totally drunk." The Shankaran Pillai said, "Are you sure?" He said, "Absolutely, you're drunk. Look at the way you're walking, half in the gutter, half on the street." Shankaran Pillai said, "Thank you so much. Thank you, because I thought I was crippled." When people are drunk, they're crippled, isn't it? If you could be drunk without being crippled, you could be enhanced, it would be great. Is it true? Ask anybody, you're not in the medical sciences, but ask anybody, is it true that this body here is the greatest chemical factory in the universe right now? The universe that we know at least? Only problem is you're a lousy manager. If you know how to manage this, you would be like me, always blissed out. Anybody can say what they want, anybody can do what they want. This is like this only. Because I have not given this privilege to anybody, that somebody can make me happy, somebody can make me unhappy, somebody can make me miserable. Right now, you are a consequence of other people's opinions. Where do you plan to go like this? Anybody can ruin you. You went outside, somebody told you, "Shreya, you are the most wonderful human being we have seen." Then you were floating on that cloud, what number? What number? 9. Oh, in South we do 11. You were floating on cloud whatever number and you came home, people at home told you who you really are and the cloud will crash. No. It's very important that neither this way or that way, we listen to everybody because we could be doing something wrong. Hello? Any moment we could be doing something wrong, so we listen to everybody. But what they say will not determine how I am. Never, ever. This you must fix and you must tell your friend when she's not drunk because otherwise she won't understand.